Good evening, my dear expats, and now we have come to a simple video but also rather important one. What are the deadlines in the income tax return, and also under which conditions can you file your taxes retroactively for how many years? So, the checklist. Abgabefristen einhalten. So let's look at first a simple explanation in English. The German tax year runs from January to December. That's the calendar year. If you're obliged to submit a tax return, then you can submit it at any time between the January 1st and July 31st of the following year. For example, July 31st of 2022 for your 2021 tax return. Now, that is the general rule under a standard case. But of course, the last years of pandemic, so Corona 2020, 2021, 2022, this deadline has been under only this exception extended. Let's follow up. If you need, you can also apply for your local tax office for an extension or Fristverlängerung, which is usually granted automatically. If you use the services of a tax advisor, the tax office automatically extends the deadline to the end of the following February. If you're submitting a tax return voluntarily, then you can apply for refunds for up to the 4 previous years. So this is the retroactive tax declaration. In 2022, then you can submit for the 2021, 2020, 2019, and 2018. So this, of course, means that on the 1st of January of 2023, we are done with filing for 2018. Finishing up, between 2 and 6 months after submitting your tax return, you will receive a tax assessment or Steuerbescheid from the tax office. And this document informs you whether you can expect a refund or you owe taxes. And if you owe taxes, then you will be given around 4 weeks to pay it back. And finally, now that we got a sense of this in English, let's look at this in German. So first, let's begin with Abgabepflicht, which means if you are under the obligation of delivering your tax return. So, müssen Sie für 2021 eine Steuererklärung einreichen, denn der Stichtag für diese ist der 1. August 2022. If you have the obligation of delivering the tax return, then you must do it by latest the 1st of August of 2022, either in paper or electronically. Now, next, if you do it with the help of a tax advisor, then holen Sie sich Unterstützung etwa für den Steuerberater oder einen Steuerhilfeverein, reicht es, wenn die Steuererklärung für 2021 am 28. Februar 2023 beim Finanzamt vorliegt. So, if you are using the help for your tax declaration from a tax advisor or the Lohnsteuerhilfeverein, which is a variation of this, then you can do it up to the 28th of February of 2023. You get an extension of your time. And third, let's look at what happens if you are running late on it. So, geben Sie die Steuererklärung nicht pünktlich ab, droht ein Verspätungszuschlag von mindestens 25 € je angebrochenen Monat Fristüberschreitung. In den ersten 14 Monaten nach Ende des Steuerjahres hat der Finanzbeamte noch einen Ermessensspielraum, selbst zu entscheiden, ob er Zuschlag veranlagt. Danach muss er ihn grundsätzlich erheben. Eine Ausnahme gilt, wenn das Finanzamt Sie etwa als Rentner erstmals auffordert. So, what happens in here is, as I explained before, if you are running late on filing taxes, and you must do so, then the tax office will raise this so-called delaying interest of at least 25 euros for each month you are past the deadline. So what happens in this number 4 is, as said previously, that because of the corona pandemic, this deadline was extended. And last but not least, if you expats are now voluntarily filing taxes, then of course you have this 4 years retroactive deadline. That means that you can do for 2021 up to the 31st of December of 2025. And now to aggregate one special last case, which would only be relevant for people who are filing this so-called loss carry forward or the loss statements for all of the years where you were in education but not really paying taxes. So you were not overpassing this so-called tax-free income, which is varying from year to year. So if you are doing, for example, a master degree or a second bachelor degree, any type of secondary education which is tax deductible, then under the case of these students, then you can deliver and create these loss statements for up to 7 years. So retroactively, for example, now for the year 2021, You can do it for 2020, 19, 18, 17, 16, and 15. In conclusion, pay attention for all of you expats who were undergoing this so-called university or any type of secondary education here in Germany for the years, for example, 2015, still now, 16, 17, 18, it's not over yet. So you can still file your taxes, create this lost statement retroactively for up to 7 years. And that, my dear expats, is the explanation on which deadlines you must meet in order to correctly file your income tax return.